The Project. Kuwait. Learn. Live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of The Project Kuwait. Who did we have on the show, Mahdi?
We had Rob Schillaci and Haya, who just stole my intro, apparently. Rob came back on. Do you want to continue, Haya?
I do want to continue. Because you know what? So many people come up to us and say, why isn't my program working? Why am I not reaching my goals? I'm not feeling motivated. So Rob comes in and breaks down the 5 programming mistakes that could be hindering your progress.
I think one of the best parts of this episode is when he talks about the program hopper. I think everyone has done that at one point in their athletic career. So it's really good because we get into some deep conversation. He talks about a lot of the gimmicky bullshit that you see around, and that's my favorite part. And I love the fact that his new programming company is called No Magic Pill because let's face it, there really is no magic diet pill. There is no magic workout pill. You got to put in the hard work and get in some good programming.
Exactly. And that's why my biggest takeaway is that consistency is key.
And in my opinion, I mean, Schillaci's the man when it comes to like gimmicky bullshit. And I love it. I love this episode because we hit it on it real hard. And, you know, it was just a good takeaway, especially for some athletes. So enjoy. If you guys have any questions at all, DM us. We can pass them on to Rob or just head over to No Magic Pill Programming on Instagram.
It'll be on the show notes.
All this and more in today's episode.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Project, and we've got a special episode. You're going to get to meet someone from behind the scenes, and the fittest man in Kuwait 2018 is back on the show with a little bit of a surprise right there, Rob. I mean, you're going to...
Second time on.
Yeah, you're going to throw out some big news too, right? Magic Pill?
Yeah. New programming coming out from myself, NMP Programmin. So something trying to help people with their programming, trying to help reach out to their fitness goals and trying to achieve that. Rather than people if they're like a bit caught up in all like the cookie clutter that you can easily get mixed up in with like on Instagram, especially there's so much stuff out there, you can get pretty lost in it. So hopefully we can help steer you in the right direction and help people reach the goals that they're looking to hit.
That's pretty cool.
So
I mean,
I've
been a customer of yours for about a year.
True.
You know, I can't tell too much unless you're willing to sponsor the show.
Well, we can talk after.
All right,
we'll figure something out.
And then we've also got from behind the scenes, Haya's joining us for this episode. She runs the project, so you know Haya.
Yeah.
Also a client of yours.
This is it, yeah.
That's true. Hi, everybody.
So this episode is not biased at all.
Really not.
This episode is totally not biased. We're going to talk about the top 5 programming mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you came in to talk about.
Yeah. Things we see or things I've seen, not in any specific order, but things that you'll see or you may have even done ourselves in the past as we've grown up that are simple mistakes that if you think about it, like, yeah, that is actually quite a big thing. And that is probably what could be hindering your own fitness results or the goals that you're trying to achieve. That could be why you're not doing it or getting where you want to be.
So as a coach, how painful is it when you see some of the clutter on Instagram, on Facebook, and various social media, these gimmicky programs, so to speak? I mean, how painful is it? Because I know I see it.
There is a long time you have to just cringe your teeth. Always first question is why? Why are you doing this? Like, what is this even achieving? What is it achieving for the clients? What is your goals doing this crazy exercise or this unnecessary stuff to what's so-called fitness or health related, but really it's almost just like, I call it just like a fluff training, like almost like it's just filling the space of the training session, just stuff chucked in. Yeah, I saw that. It's okay, just chuck it in, looks good. So it can be very frustrating at times to then be like, oh, that's such a waste because you could be doing something else that could be so much more beneficial and actually improve you or that client what they actually need to be doing. It can be very frustrating. Very frustrating to see.
Well, I mean, the number one question I think for most clients is how can I lose weight? I think that's the number one thing across the fitness industry is people will come up to you. You'll get the rarities of, hey, I'm an athlete. How can I get better?
Yeah.
How can I improve my squat? I mean, like Haya came in and she said, hey, what'd you say?
I said I wanted strength.
Yeah.
And you built upon that.
Yeah. And that's what exactly. That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
There was no magic or special exercises that we did. We just firstly looked at basically what was your base or what we were working with. And then we built on that with simple compound movements. Mm-hmm. We worked on weakness areas or weakness muscles with accessory work. And lo and behold, you're squatting a fair bit of weight and deadlifting a fair bit of weight now.
And that's what I love about your program is that on the outside, it looks so simple, but it is so effective.
Yeah.
And every time we found a weak point, we've spent so much time working on it through the accessory work.
Yeah.
And it's no magic pill
Yeah,
and it's nothing crazy.
It's almost, like no brainer. Like you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if that's holding you back, why wouldn't you address that?
Yeah.
Why would you just keep like, oh, forget about it because I'm doing really good. My squats are really well, but it's only good at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why can't we take it to the next step? Why can't we add the extra 10 pounds or 5 pounds that you're looking to do?
Yeah.
And it could be, oh, I'm struggling bracing or like I'm struggling with my quad strength. So, okay, let's take a step back. Let's address these weaknesses and then let's build it back up again.
Yeah.
And that's why we can hit new PRs and new goals each time, which is a lot of fun to see as well.
A lot of fun to do.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So with the weight loss people, now, what would you say to them? I mean, if they come to you, like, is that a client that you take on or is that a client I'm very curious to that question because I know what kind of a coach you are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, first of all, and first and foremost, it's we can do the best or we can have the most well-detailed, thought-out training program there is. We can go into every single detail of training in the gym, what we do. But if you go home and you're ordering off carriage or you're crushing back Ben & Jerry's ice cream every night, don't expect any results to come from that. So when it's, weight loss and fat loss is, well, what's your nutrition like first? Because if that's not dialed in first, then this isn't going to help. This isn't really going to, okay, maybe don't get me wrong, you're being a little bit more active, fantastic. But it could be even better because you've decided, okay, I'm not going to eat out every night. I've gone from eating out, let's say 5 days a week to just 3 days a week. Fantastic. Now let's start building on these little habits that you're starting to build from. Eating a bit more of a healthier, nutritious, dense breakfast rather than just coffee and a bagel and I'm off to work. So these sort of things need to be in place first for fat loss and weight loss rather than, okay, I need to go to gym. Keep going to the gym. I'm going to do 2 PT sessions a day now. I'm going to go in the morning and the evening. Fantastic. But what are you doing outside of that for your weight loss?
Totally understandable. Tell me where I can get a good bagel in Kuwait.
That's true. I'm still looking for one.
All right, so let's dive straight into it. So what do you got for number one, man? I mean, that's what I'm interested in. We brushed a little bit on this topic and, I was like, all right, I can't wait to get into this. So what's number one, man?
Like I say, no general order, but the first one is the program hopper. The guy that goes from one program to another. It runs it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or likes what he saw in week 1 and 2. And then week 3 is like, oh no, I saw something else. So let's go on this one. Like the shiny object syndrome almost. Rather than, let's say this program's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but you did 2 weeks. What happened? What happened to the other 6 weeks? Oh no, I just liked something else. Okay, why? Oh, I liked what I saw. But then aren't you doing this? When you get specifically better at this program that you started to? So why don't you sit out to the end, reap the rewards of that, and then let's start something new again. And that can be a frustrating time from a coach to a client as well. If I was to give out a program for a specific client that wants to get, let's say, stronger in their squats and we're squatting 3 times a week and they come in week 2 and we're looking at their programming or their feedback and it's like, okay, you only squatted twice. You did 1. What did you do on the other days? Oh, I went out running with my friend or, I joined in a spin class instead. I mean, great. It's fantastic. You've been active and stuff, but isn't our goal here to get that squat up? So why don't we stick with that and stay focused on that instead?
What do you think prompts people to hop from program to program?
Oh, many things. Instagram.
That's the number one thing. Yeah, that's a good one, dude.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard for people to maybe stay on that or run the course when things get tough or when the results aren't there every single week or like I say, it's like, oh, this is getting like hard now or I don't want to stay with it. I want to go do something else. It's like, that's the area where you need to stay with it and push through that. Then rewards, that hard bit will come through later on in the cycle or later on in the programming. So
it's almost as if they want that instant gratification.
Yeah.
And when they don't see it, then they think, okay,
right,
maybe if
something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone's had it where they've had tough days or they've been in the gym and they're like, oh man, this day sucks. I don't know what's going on. This isn't working. Something's not working. Something's not right. And you think, maybe is it what I'm doing? Do I need to do something different? Do I need to add more? Do I need to take more away? But it's like, just like run the course, what you're on. Stay in your lane. Keep doing what you're doing and it will eventually get you there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you get people mostly, I mean, I was a program hopper at one point. I really was. And it was just because, you get into a program, you're there for 2-3 weeks, you don't see the results.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, why am I not getting stronger? Okay, maybe I need to try this.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to try that. All right, why am I not getting cut? Because I'm not getting this.
Yeah.
But if I had stayed the course,
yeah.
like the first program I did was Athlete X. And that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And It was the one program I stayed on for the whole 90 days, lived by it, ate by it, everything.
Yeah.
To a T. And lo and behold, like it worked magic.
Yeah. And if you actually think how long 2 weeks is in the actual grand scheme of things, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Not really much is going to happen during that 2 weeks, but it's the 6, the 8, 10, 12 weeks that you kept on, was consistent with it, is where it all starts to show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing with weight loss too.
Massively.
Weight loss and with strength.
Yeah.
I mean, both are going to come with weight loss. If you're losing, like 5 kilos in a month, you're not doing it in a very healthy fashion. When same thing with putting weights on the bar.
Yeah. Like I can tell you specifically from my own personal journey with weight loss that when I was at my heaviest, it wasn't like, okay, now tomorrow I want to drop right down. It was just, I want to do it gradually, maintaining basically the lean muscle mass that I've already built from all this, but drop body fat. And it's going to take time. And it didn't. It wasn't like a 2-week or a 3-week transformation. It was a 2-year, 3-year journey of doing that, finding what works out for me, because unfortunately there isn't no magic pill, as I say, but this magic
how many plugs
program.
how many plugs are we going to get in here?
But there's no magic program or this one size fits all for everyone that is okay. I want to lose weight. Okay, you just do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Yes, you need to be in a calorie deficit and you need to be thinking what you're eating and your timing, but also you need to be thinking about how's your sleep? What's your stress like? How are you managing all these other things? Are you drinking enough? Are you actually being active enough throughout the day to actually get these results that we're looking for? That 1-hour gym session that you did, fantastic, but what are all the things you're doing around that?
So what are some keys to, let's say, motivating a client to keep them on track and keeping faith within the program? I mean, personally, I've been a client of yours for a while. And at the beginning, I was skeptical.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical.
Aware. Yeah.
And then, I came back to you and I was like, all right, this isn't working. You're just believe in the process, stick with the process, stick with it. Luckily, I see you train. So I get to see that part of it. That's
another nice thing,
And later on, I saw the results.
Yeah.
So what could you offer other coaches to, the newer coaches that need some, tools in their belt so that they can keep their clients motivated?
Yeah. I always think, first of all, trying to find out the client's why. Why are they doing this? Why did you hire me? Why did you come to me with these goals or this idea, this plan that you wanted to work towards? And then try to always show them, where did they come from? Where did, for you here, for instance, we started with an empty barbell, working on squats. And then just this other day, we hit 235 pounds for reps. And then next week, you could be like, I don't think my strength's coming along, or this is really bugging me. I don't think I'm going anywhere. I was like, hold on a minute. Not too long ago, we was only on a 45-pound bar or a 35-pound bar. And now we've built up over time, working on our technique, our progressions, and we've built strength in that. And same with weight loss as well. We can say, well, you wanted to lose 30 pounds, but look, we've already lost 5 pounds. So if we keep going the way we're going, we're going to reach that goal. Not, I need to lose 30 pounds tomorrow. Yeah. No, we're going to do it gradually, step by step, and it's going to stay off. It's not going to be where you lost it within this 6-week, 12-week shred, but then after week 12, week 15, I'm 5 pounds heavier again. Week 20, okay, I'm 10 pounds heavier again. What's going on? Well, why? Stay the course, take it. Small steps, small progressions will get you there. And it will maintain as well, rather than just a complete drop-off again. This is what we don't want to see.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just staying the course. It's the toughest part. And it's with everything in life. Staying the course on something is so difficult, especially when you have to put in the time and you have to put in the work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing you always remind me. You're like, well, depends how much effort you put into it. That's how hard it's going to be.
Exactly, And that's even when I'm talking class, people come class, that doesn't look very hard. No, it doesn't have to be hard. It's as hard as you make it as well. And how much effort you put in is how much reward you're going to get back. So you can take it real slow, real easy. That's fantastic. But then don't start whining and whinging to us or complaining and moaning, I'm not getting where I want to be. Well, maybe take a look why you're not doing that, why you're not getting where you want to be.
That's cool. All right, so what else we got there? I think that was a good lead into next.
I think we ran in quite well, yeah.
Although I have to say, in terms of effort, man, dude, yesterday I did my workout. That kicked my ass, man.
You put the work in.
That kicked my ass. But I do have to say one thing about having a good coach, and when it comes to the programming also, and I should have thrown this in earlier. I wrote it down, but is knowing where you are in the journey also.
Yeah.
I think some people get confused of when they do have that off week after a tough loaded week.
Yeah.
So, that's a tough part in the journey. So
that actually fits quite nice is not actually taking rest days.
Yeah.
And not actually getting some rest in. there was quite a good post pull up on Instagram that I actually had to repost, was where some people said, my recovery, I'm just going to go for a 5K run for my recovery. And it's like, what? It's not that doesn't sound like recovery to me. Like, yeah, sure, you took it as a gentle jog or whatever, but it's still putting stress on the body. It's still putting stress on you. Maybe you went for a 5K walk. Fantastic. That's a bit more like it. Stretched out, got moving. But people thinking more is better and more of whatever. Don't always want to refer back to CrossFit, but it's definitely big in the CrossFit community where it's like, okay, I need to do one more Metcon, one more workout. I need to do one more. And it's like, that's great that you've got that ambition and that drive to do more, but is it one more of quality or is it just one more of quantity?
Yeah.
Because if you're just half-assing it, just ticking the box, okay, I did that workout. I got like 3 rounds. Cool. But what if you took today off, come in tomorrow and did it? You got 5 rounds, for instance. Okay, well, you've done way better. You've pushed yourself that way a bit harder rather than just like crawling through this workout, just beating yourself down and down. And like, don't forget that rest is where you actually adapt and build and recover from all the work you're doing. So if you're trying to build a house, why do you keep tearing it down? And it's the same thing with the body. It needs time to rest and recover and adapt. And that's what happens with training. We need to adapt to our training stimuluses. Well, that's where the rest comes into play. That's where it's so important. Yeah, it's not stressful, but annoying to hear sometimes with like athletes or guys who program. And it's like, you took a rest day and it's like, no, I went in and I maxed out my squat.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not me at all. That is not me at all. I maxed out my deadlift,
and it's like,
definitely not me at all.
All right, fantastic. I was like, yeah, I got a PR, and it's like, fantastic. Like, we were sort of building you up for a PR, so yeah, fantastic. But how do you feel now? Oh, I'm trashed. I'm injured. And it's like, oh, okay, well, unfortunately, because you keep adding more stress to the body and you're not resting and recovering, then unfortunately something's going to break, and this is where the injuries do come to play.
Now, with your methods, you usually use like a deload week, right?
Yeah.
You use the deload week, whereas some other methods will have a complete off week or a complete 4 days off that are built into the program.
Yeah.
So, like out of Exos, when I did my cert with them, it was for every month you did of training, you'd get so many days off. And then it was the periodization, the old approach of periodization, where if you went like 2 months straight with only a couple of days here and a couple of days there with the weekends, you'd get like a week off.
Yeah.
So you get in those blocks. Now, you go with the deload week. So why? Just out of curiosity.
You can definitely vouch for this beforehand, where that third week, especially if you've been putting the work going hard, that third week, they've even heard you come in and be like, man, I feel trash. Or, man, I feel like I need to turn it down a little bit. And it's like, well, fantastic, because next week it's your deload week.
Yeah.
So we're going to drop down the intensity of the weight. We're not going so heavy, or we're not building up to such high percentages or such heavy lifts. We're going to drop that weight down a bit, but we can still work on technique. We can still move. We can still sweat. So the volume may not be there in terms of weight or total tonnage or like what we're moving, but we're still keeping our technique and our movements crisp. Like personally, if I took a whole week off, firstly, that'd be terrible. But I would come back the next day or that next week, and I would just feel so sluggish.
Yeah.
And it would probably take me another week to get the ball rolling again. But I can still keep my squat where it is and keep it moving well, but I can dial in some time on technique, or I can work on my other skills in that week. So it's a nice time just to back off that, do some other stuff that we may not always get a chance to do or can't always fit in. So you can work on other areas of your training in that time as well, but also give your central nervous system a bit of a rest as well, because it can only take so much. I mean, people will say, I can just max out every day, or I can lift heavy every single day. Keep going for it, keep doing it. But it's going to come to a point where you can't go that any further, and it needs some time to rest and recover. So that's why deload week's really important to get in. It doesn't have to be every 4 weeks. It can be sometimes 5 or 6 weeks. It depends whatever the program's looking like or going with. Especially like if you as well, like pushing that masters category, that 4th week, and you set yourself quite a nice area just to bring in.
That 4th week. That 4th week is gold.
Yeah, bring that weight down, let you recover a little bit.
That 4th week is gold for me. But I mean, then you get the flip side of some other trainers that say, no, there are guys that come back stronger after a full week off. Yeah. I would say that depends on the person.
100%.
Individually, it's,
100%.
It's an individual thing.
Yeah.
Like I know if I take 3 days off in a row and I go back to the gym and I'm squatting, for instance, I know I'm going to squat way more weight than what I was doing probably the previous week. But it depends on the person. I mean, personally, I like the idea of staying more crisp and sharp with just a deload week, because you stay into your skills.
Yeah, you stay active and you're still moving. Like I said, you don't get like stiff or just feeling that little bit sluggish after that week of doing nothing.
Makes sense. Oh, that
so it's
makes
nice to still
sense,
move around, get a bit of a sweat on.
And I like the fact that I can work on the technique. Like, so when I work on my deadlifts, when I'm at my deload week, I'm thinking, okay, work on knees, pushing from the ground, speed.
Yeah.
And it's not just, okay, I have to more weight.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
And
it's time to
Yeah.
focus.
And I think like everyone's guilty of, rather than worrying about the movement, they're always worried about the weight.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's so easy to get caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's guilty of sometimes, like, especially the time we're in now where everyone's got to go on Instagram and everyone's got to see, like, if you didn't PR every single week, something's wrong. But it's nice to drop the weight down and work on your technique and positions, because then later on, it will pay off again.
Yeah.
It will pay off into them when you do get to them higher weights or them big lifts. It shows.
Oh, it definitely makes sense. I mean, I listen to your advice.
At times.
No. Yesterday,
when I'm around.
No, I was going to deadlift yesterday. It was right after I did my snatches, right after I did my clean. So I go to the deadlift. I'm like, wow, 400. This is tough to get off the ground. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What would my coach say? All right, well, you just snatched and you just did heavy cleans. Obviously, your deadlift's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
you know, you're already
unfortunately,
taxed.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to have that in the back of your head as an athlete, too, that when you're not pulling as much weight, there's reasons for it. And you got to check yourself, before you wreck yourself. I've always wanted to use that phrase.
100%. It couldn't be truer.
So the third point then.
Which fits in nicely to not maxing out every day. When workouts are more on the strength side, but yeah, if you're building up, let's say you're working at percentages, let's say 70, 75%, where we're looking to work on our technique and speed, or we're building up to a daily heavy or 5 reps or something. We're trying to build strength here. We're building. We're not testing. So we want to build our strength. It's written there for a reason. So you don't really have much. We shouldn't have any right going for that 1 rep max that week. And it sort of fits back to program hopping, where all week 2 I didn't PR. Yeah, well, of course not. Like we're trying to build your strength up from here. So let's build it. Let's adapt to these new stimuluses, these new weights. Let's regrain our technique and our positions, so then we can push for that new 1 rep max that we're looking to hit, rather than trying to push them to keep pushing, going to max out, going to max. What's happened? I busted my shoulder maxing out my bench press for the 4th time this week. Like, why? It does surprise me. You see some guys in the gym and they're doing that and you're thinking, what do you think? Like, what is your process thinking this? That I'm going to, for the 3rd time now, I'm going to max it out, or I'm going to really try and push it. I can understand if you're in the testing phase, or you're in a testing week, and let's say you squatted on Monday and it was meant to be on a max and you missed it, or you just wasn't feeling good. So you're like, you know what? I'm just going to cool it down. I'm going to come back maybe Thursday, Friday. I'm going to hit it again when I feel a little bit more refreshed, or my head's a bit more in the game, or whatever personal was going on that day. That's understandable. But not when you're doing it weekly, every week. Because I say something's going to give, and it's probably going to be where we're going to hit an injury.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to see.
I'm guilty of this, because when I first started, I thought, okay, I am as strong as my 1 rep max. But then I was thinking, hey, I went from doing 185 for 5 to now 225 for 5. And that's cool to see.
Yeah.
That the number of reps I'm doing and like the weight on there is increasing.
Yeah, and it won't leave you so beat up as well, rather than that central nervous system zombie feel where you just feel so spaced out. Yeah, definitely.
So when do you build in your testing phase for your athletes, or when you build it into your programs? I mean, just some advice for probably some other trainers out there.
Well, it always depends. Unfortunately,
100%.
It's always going to be like styling the answer. But
unfortunately, some people don't think that.
Yeah, they just need exactly this is the answer. Yeah,
they're just like, I got one program, I'm going to have it for all my clients.
Yeah, right. Let's say if we're being real specific and we want to get the squat up, then we could test it in a 6-week intensive phase, or we could go 8 or 12 weeks. Okay. But if we're looking more at the general overview, like for you, for instance, it's 12 weeks to get a real good long course of training and really build up that strength for you, and let your CNS adapt to these new weights and get some good time to build new muscle mass, build in our technique with the heavier loads as well. Also mentally to get stronger as well. Yes, it's a physical, but it's also a mental side of lifting as well, massively. Like I've had it in the past, and I'm sure many people have been guilty of this, where they've gone to unrack a bar or gone to lift the bar, and before they've even lifted it, they've gone, I can't do this. And what happened? Oh, surprising, you didn't lift it. No wonder. But if you go in with that mindset of, okay, well, 3 weeks ago, I had 225 for 5. Well, 235 is going to fly up, or 245 is going to be a piece of cake, because I know I've got that strength in reserve. I know I've done the work, I've put it in. This is going to be easy. I can show it off now. So that's where it comes into play. Yeah, like you need some time. they say like a good saying is like strength takes an age to build, but it stays for an age. So it takes the time to build up this hard work, but you keep it. It stays there. Like I think you've seen it most where you didn't deadlift for a long period, but then you came back and still heavyweight and still it's pretty close to your max.
I was on a deficit, like, dude. What's
going on?
Yeah, dude, I was on a deficit and I hit 415 for 3, I think. And I was like, holy shit, what the hell's going on here? Something off is happening.
Yeah.
And Hey looked at me. She's like, yeah, that went up pretty easy. I was like, I know. It felt weird.
You keep it,
you know? But then yesterday, like 3rd week into the program, after everything, still me hitting 400, I was happy with that.
Yeah, and exactly. It's only like 15 pounds. It's only a small bit off.
Yeah.
But again, it's everything else that you've done. So it's nice to know you're around that 90% mark that you can move that heavy load.
Yeah. Being fatigued too. I mean,
pre-fatigued as well.
It's like I got you in the back of my head when I'm lifting that.
But then it's nice for you to know that when you, let's say if you go to a competition and there is, for instance, a 1 rep max deadlift, you know that, okay, when I felt fatigued, I was in my, like I had 3rd week of training, I was feeling fatigued, I couldn't wait for that data. I can still pull 400 regardless of how I feel. And I know that's in the tank regardless of the day, regardless how I feel, that weight's coming up.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, you've built up that strength and that strength reserve, which is nice to have.
Makes a big difference. Yeah, no, definitely, man. Where are we on to with number 4?
Number 4?
Yeah, number 4. Rocking out the big mistakes here, Rob.
Just not following the program.
So wait a minute. So is there a mistake of taking on the wrong client? I know you wanted to fire me time again.
Well, we only had 5, so I don't get so many in. Yeah. But just not following the program. That has to be one of the, not biggest mistakes, but just, it's like you have this program you're paying for, you've had this consultation, you've put all this time and effort, someone's like built all this programming for you to work around it. And then it's like, here it is. Okay, let's get going. Okay, week 3, what happened? I just fancy doing something else this week. Like, why? Like, I can understand that maybe, okay, I wanted to go do something with my buddies one day, or I wanted to go just veer off a little bit. Okay, that's fine. I understand it, and everybody needs that. And sometimes that's better. You do sometimes get that extra push just being with a group. And this goes over to the CrossFit side again, where when you throw down with a group, you do get that little bit of an extra, like adrenaline rush, that little extra push that sometimes you won't always get on your own. But let's say, for instance, that we're trying to increase your overhead press work, or like your biggest weakness is like your shoulder strength and pressing work. So it's in your program for like 3 times a week. You're hitting it hard. But for some reason you decided, I'm just going to deadlift with my friends instead and max out my deadlift. Or I'm just going to do that leg session that my friend did. Fantastic. Cool. But how is this getting you towards your goals that you've come to us, you've come to me specifically trying to attack?
Yeah.
Then there's a little bit like, now we need to take a step back, address that, and let's push that week back another week. So now we're 1 week behind. Okay, now 2 weeks down there, what happened again? I went out, I couldn't be bothered this week. Okay, so now we're 2 weeks, now we're 3 weeks, now we're 5 weeks, now we missed a whole month. What are you doing?
It feels like the biggest takeaway here is that consistency is just key.
100%.
That's it. It's just be consistent and be patient.
Yeah.
And Mahdi and I were talking about this the other day, where someone had to do 50 wall balls and only did 25 with nobody watching. And it shouldn't matter if somebody's watching or not, because if you don't do the full program, you're not going to progress.
No. And it's going to show.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're serious about this and you want to go to competitions or something, that's where you can showcase and show off your hard work. Mm-hmm. Well, if you haven't done it and you come in to competition, it's like, well, what happened? Like, you said you were doing all this, putting all that in, and now it's not there. What's going on?
Yeah.
You need to take a step back and look, okay, am I really all in? Am I actually really putting in the work? Mm-hmm. And am I being consistent with it? Because
a lot of people don't want to do the boring stuff.
Unfortunately not.
The boring accessory work. Because I remember when you and I were first working on pull-ups.
Yeah.
And it was a hang.
Yeah.
And we did that for a good month?
Yeah.
Hanging.
Or just negative pull-ups. And they're so, unfortunately, they are boring.
Yeah.
Ring roll and hold. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, but it's these little
the stories
things,
go on.
But these sort of little things are building the pyramid so we can get to the top where we want to hit that pull-up.
Yes.
And now you're doing it weighted. We can do it with 17 pounds, 20 pounds on us.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think we went from, you see, a dead hang to doing negative pull-ups, to doing ring rows or all these different areas to strengthen your body.
Yeah.
And also, we didn't just chuck a load of bands on and look, you're kind of doing the pull-up movement, so you'll get it in a couple of weeks, couple of months. We build up progressions. We build up slowly. We took time. We got stronger. And now look what happens. Oh, we're now doing the goal that we set out to do, which is pull-ups. But now we're doing it in abundance because now we can add weight to us. You can pretty much do strict chest to bar pull-ups. And what's the next? Well, maybe a muscle up or whatever pushes next.
Well, yeah, I have to do more than Mahdi.
Yeah, I heard about the muscle up thing there. All right, she can't keep a
Crossed
secret,
out.
dude.
Yeah.
I heard about it. You're teaching my wife how to do a muscle up.
It was just
trying to show me up.
Yeah.
What's up with that, dude? Come on, man.
But see, that's another thing I
That could be a nice
appreciate.
surprise.
That's another thing I really appreciate about your programming is the fact that you listen. And that when I say, I can't feel my lats, I don't know how to activate them. So then we start isolating them within
let's take a
the
step back. Yeah. Let's address that. And that's a massive part of, right, let's say you want to muscle up. Well, you don't just go do a muscle up. You don't just start swinging around on the bar thinking, I'll get it in a minute.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a step back and address the strengths and weaknesses that we need to get that? Can you do a strict pull-up?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do a strict dip? Can you do a strict chest-to-bar pull-up? And all these areas of strength and skill and transition work can build up. So then you can get that bar muscle up and you can keep it and then you can build on it.
Yeah.
Rather than you got not that one ugly muscle up that you just about like ranched over on top of the bar. Everyone's sort of like, oh, awesome, he got it. But everyone's like squinting their eyes thinking, geez, that's ugly.
Yeah.
And they're like, it wasn't like, oh man, like rather you just came down. But then it's the cool thing. Okay, now you're stringing 3, 5, 7, 10 into your workouts or with your skill work. That's the cool thing to see.
Yeah.
You progress from looking at the bar, thinking almost like, there's no way I can do this. Or like, oh my God, to now, look, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
They say we're going to do pull-ups. You just chalk up. Yep, okay, I'm in. I'm cranking them out. No big deal.
Yeah.
But you say it's the boring little things that build up for the bigger picture that you need to sort of run the course, stay consistent with, and it will show at the end.
So realistically, right, most people want the crazy shit. They want to be hanging off the bar doing a bench press and like swinging their leg around with a 20-pound dumbbell on it or something. You know what I mean? So they want that stuff. They want to go into the gym and be beat up. Yeah. They want their trainer to beat the crap out of them to the point where they're almost throwing up and they think it's a great workout. Yeah, when in reality, that workout didn't do anything but kill your CNS.
Yeah, or made you sick. So now how you feel tomorrow? I feel even worse.
I mean, there was a story about, I forget her name. She was an athlete. She went and did one session of CrossFit. This was recent. It was a couple.
Dana Bailey.
Yes, it was a couple.
She didn't do one.
Well, that's the story.
Poorly written.
That was what I heard.
But yeah, she got rhabdo.
She got rhabdo. And I'm just sitting, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, dude, it was probably shitty programming. You probably went in way too hard. God knows what you were doing before that.
Wait, can we give some background to people that have no idea what you're talking about?
About what? That's your job. That's what I brought you on for.
I don't
have Liam or Meg, so come on, jump in.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about the Dana Bailey story, CrossFit.
Okay.
She went and did one workout of CrossFit, I think. That's the story I read. She did a workout of CrossFit, got rhabdo, wrote about it, posted on Instagram. And it's like, come on. God knows what was built up to that or what she was doing the day before that. And
well, like I said, I think more of that is down to, like you say, the programming. And I think I saw it. She was doing like GHD sit-ups for like GHD sit-ups in a given time frame for like how many you can do in like, I think 2 or 3 minutes. She's an athlete. She's going to go hard at it. She went too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not her first time doing CrossFit. She's been doing CrossFit for like quite a while now. She's like good friends with Brooke Hens. They've been doing a lot of CrossFit. So it's not like it was some big surprise to her. But I think it's more boiled down to just the program. And it was just too much, maybe too much too soon. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, something gave out. And it was, unfortunately, we had to go to the hospital because of it.
I mean, but going back to it with the trainers and like beating their clients into the ground, that's what some people want. So realistically, what can trainers do? Or what?
I think at first of it needs to boil down to, again, the quality versus the quantity. Just pumping exercise after exercise after exercise, looking at your client, they look like a zombie. They're just like flapping around during the session, not really accomplishing anything. And maybe sometimes you just take a step back and tell the client or something like, it's okay if we have a bit of a easier day, but it's not. Maybe we can work on some techniques. Maybe we can work on our positions or like how we lift the bar or why we're lifting it like this, why we're thinking about engaging our lats, why we're bracing the core versus 100 miles an hour all day, every session. Like I say, eventually you're going to just crash and you're not coming in every week. You're coming in, maybe you had to miss 2-3 weeks because you're so beat up or you got injured because of it. I mean, it's health and fitness. So you're meant to be staying healthy and also fit.
Yeah.
Not just fit, but also crashed and can't do anything with it. I can't showcase it.
Well, they can't put it on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Well, no one wants to see you just laying in bed on Instagram.
I know, right?
unfortunately.
No one wants to see you just stretching.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
No one wants to see
And
you actually
that's the
crack.
boring stuff. Yeah,
I know, dude. It's like no one
Yeah.
wants to see you stretching or doing any of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not pretty.
personally, I watch the people around me, the people that are better than me when they are stretching or they are prepping. Like I see your preparation, Liam's preparation.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I learned from it.
Yep.
You know, you're only going to learn from the
Yeah,
environment.
exactly.
That you're
Like
around.
it's like a monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
You're only going to get as good as if you're seeing what other people are doing and why are they doing this. So why are they not just getting the barbell and pointing 45 pounds straight away?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they maybe going to just an empty bar? Or maybe why are they just warming up their glutes and hamstrings first before doing any deadlifting? There's all these things to build up so they can, first of all, lift better, lift correctly, lift more, and lift continuously for long periods of time rather than just, I put all the weight on straight away, yanked it off the floor. What happened? Yeah, something like tweaked in my back. I don't know why. It's like, you're not sure why. You just put the weight straight on and lift it straight away. You didn't even just get your heart rate up a little bit or anything like this. So it's sort of understanding why we're doing this. It always comes back to like, why?
No, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Now, here's a question for you. Do you have another point or?
Are we on 4 or 5?
I think that was 5.
No, that was 4.
That was 4?
Oh.
Yeah, 4.
All right, so we're waiting on 5.
No, carry on.
No, we're waiting on 5.
What was your point?
I'll leave this to the end. I'll leave
okay,
that to the end, man. Hey told me to write down my questions for now.
What are we on? It sort of goes back to a little bit of, it's like a mixture of everything. A few years back, I went on a guy called John Welborn. So he's an old NFL player. He's the creator of CrossFit football and power athlete. So he was like a really good speaker, real good strength conditioning coach. And it was talking about the Secret Squirrel program. Where everyone thinks, or there's people who think, and again, this leans a little bit more to the CrossFit side of things, but in general, like fitness, sort of this secret program where it mixes everything and you get everything at once. So you're going to mix this squat program, this 531 or this like Wendler or program with this Chris Hinshaw endurance program, but you're also going to mix it with this gymnastics program. And also there's an assault bike in like workout that I need to keep doing weekly. So I'm going to put that in my program as well. But I want to do bodybuilding. So I'm going to do some bodybuilding as well in my program. And it's like, can't even breathe. Like, how much stuff are you doing in this week? And I'm going to run 5K because of my rest day. I like to run 5K. So if you're doing so much, you're actually doing nothing and you're not actually getting anywhere. You're just spinning your wheels, but you're not actually driving anywhere. You're just, like I say, if anything, you're just going to break down.
Yeah.
You need to have, first of all, clear set out goals. What are we looking to achieve? Okay, I always think of it like a tree or like what's the closest branches you're to at the moment. So let's say it was getting double unders, or you can do single skips. You can get like 5 double unders, but let's get to 10, 15, 20. Okay, let's keep working on this so you can get to 20, 30, 40, 50, and you don't even think about it. It's just, yep, straight in workout, I'm going, I'm relaxed, I'm doing this. What's the next goal? Okay, handstand walking, handstand holds. Okay, that's the next branch we're going to build and work on, rather than we're going to do everything all the time, all at once. It's always go, go, go. But you're not actually seeing anything that has any results from this. And if anything, you're just getting burnt out and you're doing like a lot of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. If you lose focus or lose sight of what you're doing, you're not, like you said, your wheels are just going to keep spinning. You're going to stay in idle the whole time.
Yeah.
There's going to be no movement forward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but people like those programs.
Yeah, people like those. People
Unfortunately,
want to
it's
do
sad,
that.
you
And it's
know?
almost, there's sort of like a stigma as like, who's doing the most?
Yeah.
And they can show off, like, I did all this today. It's cool. What are you going to do tomorrow? Oh, nothing. I'm trashed. I can't do anything now for the next 3 days because I'm so spent.
So isn't that where you're supposed to prioritize your goals?
Yeah.
So kind of be like, this month I should work on this gymnastics move. And then maybe a little further on, this is my goal.
Yeah.
As opposed to just putting everything together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's say like our main objective or our main goal is handstand walking. Then we can put more of a focus, more of a shift of focus on. It doesn't mean we lose sight of other stuff. We lose sight of muscle ups or pull-ups or toes to bar if it's on CrossFit selling, or we don't lose sight of our like benching and deadlifting and strength aspect because we want to get our squat up. We still keep them skills. We still keep that knife sharp, that we can still do it, but we're just not doing it as much. So let's say we went from doing it 3 times a week. We're doing it once or twice, just to keep that muscle memory, just to keep ourselves fresh with that movement pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not completely losing it, but we're not doing it so much because we're going to spend more time on this next one. We're going to work maybe handstand holds, kicking up into positions, thinking about where our weight distribution is in our hands, or just a simple handstand hold against the wall more times in a week. So that's where our time's being spent. Our main focus is on that, but we're still going to use the other stuff that we've got as well.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. No, all I could think about. Sorry, I went into the zone of like you yelling at me about like doing crap I wasn't supposed to do. Like back.
Oh,
in
you
the
just
early
walked in one day. I'm gonna do a muscle up today.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, okay, then, like, let's see.
Didn't you end up hurting yourself as well?
No.
No? Okay.
No, not really.
All
but
right.
but no, I mean, I could totally relate to it in baseball. When I've coached kids, I mean, I'm a catcher. That's my bread and butter. And some of the kids, teenagers, adults that I've taught didn't want to do the mundane stuff and work through the process of actually learning a skill.
Yeah.
Through the hard work of catching an egg.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't break it, so you have soft
Yeah,
hands.
yeah.
And like, I don't want to do this, but you're
And
not.
so, yeah, I remember when I used to play rugby, and I would spend days where I would just go hit a scrum machine, just working on my like speed across the line or my positions in the scrum, and thinking about like what my body's doing, where I'm doing it, and it's like just looking around an empty 5 rugby field, sometimes thinking it'll just keep going, it'll pay off. It'll show its case, and lo and behold, I managed to like work up the age ranks, work up the higher levels, and played at a real decent level because of these small little bits that you pull in, the extra hard work, and that little bit, like you say, these little skills and these mundane, boring things do pay off.
Which even like the best, like LeBron James is still doing what he was doing in high school.
Yeah, like Johnny Wilkinson, when he was playing rugby, for instance, he was at the very pit kicking goals. Rain, snow, shine. Even if his like dad had to shine the car lights on the rugby ball in the posts, he was there kicking goals, and he's one of the best.
Yeah, that's what makes the biggest difference, between the winners and losers.
Yeah, and I think also we learn from our mistakes as well. Definitely learn. Well, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully you learn from your mistakes you pick up in your past, and as trainers especially, it's if we have that knowledge and that experience as well, which is a big role to play.
Mm-hmm.
But you can pass that on to other people, your clients. Like, okay, let's not do this. Trust me, it happened to me. I know what you're talking about. Let's go this way. This is what I did instead. I remember that we had like preseason training and we did like so much conditioning, and I was just spent. But I was like, you know what we're going to do? Let's put a little bit extra in. Let's always do the extra work. So we did sprints to finish off with, and lo and behold, I pulled my hamstring on the second sprint, and it's like, you did enough today. Tied it back in. You were good. You didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I'm out for the next 2 weeks. I can't play this weekend because I can see that the mindset was there good, but it wasn't necessarily needed. It should have been, okay, let me rest, let me recover, let me focus on this part rather than more. I should have dialed it back, stretched out, whatever. And that would have been the better option.
Yeah.
So now, what would you describe in terms of, because I want to get into a little bit of the mental toughness of it. You kind of touched on it right now. I mean, that's when it comes into mental toughness. When you're
100%.
willing to do those extra wind sprints after practice. I mean, that's what separates, I think, the good from the great.
And like Haya said, like you said, like you got to work, it's got 50 wall balls and you're doing 25 because it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going to get where you want to be.
So what do you say to your athletes that are like that or that have that mentality? Like you'll have guys like myself where you have to dial me back.
Yeah.
Your job with me is like, okay, I got to
pull it back. I got
to pull him back. I know he's going to go 0 to 100. On the job.
But it's getting that fine balance where you have days where you pull back, but every now and then it's okay, go have fun, like showcase it. And then you're like so satisfied because you're like, yeah, it paid off. Look what I just did. Or like, yeah, I smashed it. I feel so happy with my performance because what I've been doing prior to that. And that mindset that you have to just go. When it's the other way around, it's tough. It's definitely tough because you don't want to just like crap on someone's parade and be like, are you really into this? Do you really want to do this? But it's trying to find out people's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Do you really enjoy this? Do you really want to get there? Or are you just doing it because your friend does it? Or are you doing it because you saw it on Instagram and you thought it looked cool?
Do you think it's more predominant here, I would say, throughout the GCC and amongst Kuwaitis here? Because I'm Kuwaiti. I hang around with the Kuwaiti circles.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, there are a lot of Kuwaiti guys that I work out with that have that mental toughness that will push it over the edge. But then from a lot of trainers, I heard, hey, they won't.
Yeah, there is.
And I've had to do that with clients before, where I've had to baby them a little bit and, okay, well, and it's like, you can push a little bit more. You can add those 10 pounds.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Here it was like two lines or like two groups. The ones where it's like, when it gets tough or it gets hard and like the suck starts kicking, you need to like push that a little bit more or go to that darker place and just like head down, grit your teeth and go. They're like, forget this. I'm out. I'm done for today. I'm going home. Like, no way am I going an extra 5 minutes extra or doing an extra 20 calories. I'm fine. And then there's the other group that it's like, let's put a little bit more weight on the bar. 45s? I was thinking 5, but
yeah.
Okay, I can see it. So yeah, there's that hard line of where training and like getting your goals it's not meant to be easy. Like, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. There are going to be times where it sucks, unfortunately. But that is it. That is part of training, where you need to get through that, push through that, because then like that boundary that you got through, or that area that you had to really work towards, will pay off. It will show later on. Like, I saw one of the a good CrossFit athlete girls was asked, like, what do you think of when it gets really hard? Or like, you're doing assault bike sprints, for instance, and you've got 10 of them and you've done 7, 8, and you're just spent, and you're just like, oh man, 2 more, do it. Like, I've given everything I've got. And it's like, with them extra 2, it's like, this is where you level up now. This is where it shows now. This is where you're going to get that extra step. And this is where it's going to really pay off. Because we can all just do the 5 and go home and call it a day. But them extra 3, extra 4, like hitting what was meant to be done, will always pay off. And that consistency, like we keep going back to, will then pay off for it.
I still haven't figured out why the last 10 cal on the assault bike, I'll go harder. Like, I'll go all out on the last 10
but also when you finish up,
the first 40, I'm kind of like, all right, moderate. Then I'm like, oh my God,
Now
there's 10
I'm
left. Yeah, I'm just like going out of bounds.
But it's also that sense of achievement when you finish up.
Yeah.
Like, you're so pleased or just happy, if you even go around shouting about it, but it's almost that inside feeling of, yeah, I gave everything I could today. All right, I definitely put in my all for this workout. And I'm happy with what I did. And it's that sense of achievement that is also rewarding day in, day out. But like you say, for the other group who don't want to do that, that's when you need to really just say, take a step back and just think, why are you doing this? Because you don't have to. Like, you could just say, okay, well, then maybe this isn't what you want to do. This isn't actually what you thought your goals were. And that's maybe not what we need to program and work towards. Maybe let's take a back step, rethink, reevaluate what we're working towards, and let's go towards that instead. And sometimes that is needed.
Well, that's totally understandable. Yeah. Now, should a coach fire a client to save their integrity and their reputation based on what their clients are doing? What's your stance on that? Because I asked someone else earlier in the week, and I know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely told parents and kids, I'm not coaching your kid anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like, because it's my rep on the line.
Exactly. Because let's say you're telling that kid to do something, and he's messing around, doing something else, and you're training him, and he injures himself. What happened? I went to Coach Mahdi's class and he injured me. Well, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
You wasn't listening to what he was saying. You did your own thing and you injured yourself. And also, yeah, like I think like if clients firstly aren't listening or doing what you're doing, or you're asking them to do, or you're wasting your time. I wasted my time. I could spend my time more valuably with someone that does want to invest in that, and I can invest in them, and we can work together rather than me just blowing off hot air and not getting anything in reward back. And also they're not doing anything. And then let's say we've been working together 6 weeks. What do we got to show for it? Oh, nothing. Oh, well, it's not him. It's me. My name goes on the line. Oh, yeah, I trained him for 6 weeks. I got nothing in return. But what happened is, you only come twice that once week. You did one session last Friday. No, actually, you wasn't putting in the work, I'm afraid. I was there, but you wasn't.
Yeah. It's almost as if people think if they just have a coach next to them, that
then tick boxes ticked.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll get there no time. But actually, it's them putting in the work that's actually going to get them there.
That's what they think their magic pill is.
Unfortunately, we haven't got them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if I just have someone standing over my head, that's going to be the solution. It's not. It's what you're doing.
Yeah.
The other 80% of the time, that matters. How many steps you're tracking in the day. Yeah. Are you getting those steps in?
Exactly.
Are you doing active recovery?
Did you get up during your lunch break to go for a walk? Or did you just stay seated? Exactly. 100%. That all pays off. All these little building blocks build the bigger picture that you want to see and get to.
And then when you tell your coach, oh yeah, I was doing sit-ups during my lunch break, he goes, well, do you need your hip flexors to be any tighter?
You can redirect that energy somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. It turned into you should be stretching, working on that shoulder mobility. Yeah. So, which was pretty cool. I mean, that's, I think, one thing that coaches, and I think that should be built into a program from coaches, is building that repertoire between you and the client. Yeah. That's what I always did with the kids, or even with the adults that I coach, especially the older people. They're the hardest. But the easiest, because they do exactly what you say. Yeah. A 50 plus client, they're going to do everything to a T. And it's like, it's great because they're like, why can't I do this? Well, because you can't do a full squat, So speaking of that, now going into some of the questions that I had. Yeah. And I've asked a couple of trainers earlier this week too, in terms of like assessments, full body assessments, the functional movement assessment that used to be done a couple of years ago. And it was really popular. Overhead squat with a PVC pipe and all that stuff. Why isn't that being done these days? And should that be rebuilt into programming just to set the program out and understand the client's physical limitations?
Yeah, definitely. There should be an assessment period, or even just a simple questionnaire of what are your limitations? Do you have any injuries? Because I've had it in the past with even class, people come to class and they've been injured, but they won't say anything. And then you finish up the class and what's up? It's like, oh, my shoulder's like, feels worse. What do you mean worse? Oh, I came in with a shoulder impingement. Why didn't you tell me? Like, we could have worked around this. Definitely there should be some sort of either level screening or assessment or even just questionnaire of like, what's going on? What are we working towards? What limiting factors do you have? If so, are you seeing a physiotherapist? Are you seeing anyone to address these issues anyway? And have they given you anything to do? Because if they've given you rehab exercises or prehab stuff, just because you're working with a coach doesn't mean you just stop that. You either let that coach know so they can build it in or make sure you're doing it right. If that's an area that they can work with as well, then you're going to hopefully get injury free. Or we can, like you say, overhead squat. If you've got crazy tight shoulders, then, and I give you overhead squats in a program, you're like, well, I can't do it. But if you don't tell me this, I don't know. And vice versa. I can't just keep saying it. And then how's these overhead squats coming along? Oh, I'm still with the PVC pipe. Well, I didn't find out. Can you do it? What's your shoulders like? What is that assessment like? I'm just giving you, give it a try. And I've seen in the past where there's guys trying to like overhead squat a kettlebell and it looks one-handed and looks like the arms bent, the hips are busted out one side, they're on their toes, they're like falling forward. Can they even do a regular squat, let alone this like such complex movement? And also, do they need to be doing this? Is this actually going to help them for what they're looking to do? Yeah, screening is definitely something that should be in place more often, 100%, just for the safety of the client as well.
I think this brings up the issue of communication.
Yeah,
then,
100%.
In terms of, it's not just you saying this is the program, but then the client also has to say, not only are these my limitations, but while they're doing a movement, are you feeling it where you're supposed to?
Yeah, and like this is like the screening should be how you build your program upon.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have no idea what the client can or can't do, how do you start? You're just like guessing.
Yeah.
You're just plucking out of the air rather than, okay, they've got very weak hamstrings. Let's address this. Let's try and build some strength there. They're very tight in hip flexors. Okay, let's loosen this area up. Let's address this.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So you brought up a key point. Now, I know what your regime's like, being my coach, because I watch everything, man. Like even when I look like I'm not paying attention, I'm always paying attention, because when you see the best, you want to be the best. You imitate the best a lot of the times, or you try to imitate the best, to what you can. Now, you brought up a good point about prehab and seeing a physiotherapist. Now, what are your tools for recovery? I mean, let's break some of those out here. Let's get some takeaways.
And what do you mean, like an active recovery day?
Like in recovery in general, because you go
recovery work.
You go to see a physiotherapist. Yes, kind of grease the wheels, so to speak.
Yeah, just like weekly checkups, just to make sure like what's going on. Is anything like, okay, for my training volume is probably a little bit higher than others, especially my training volume is probably a little bit higher than normal. It's definitely important to get yourself. I usually go see a physiotherapist once a week, and like you say, just to grease the wheels, just a general checkup to make sure everything's going okay. Like I've had in the past, like shoulder issues and stuff from like rugby and imbalances that I had to work on and fix. So her being a professional, she can help me make sure that first of all, I'm doing it correctly. Because there was a part where I thought prehab, rehab, definitely as I got older, it was like it's not a box you just tick. It's sort of like you make sure you're doing it correctly and understand why you're doing it as well. Because you can just fly for it. Yeah, perfect. I did all my prehab work. I did it in 5 minutes, crashed it out. Did you really spend the time to dial in your position? What's meant to be working? What's meant to be activated? What's actually meant to be using in this position rather than just, cool, I just did what my physio did and just like ran through it as fast as possible. And so sometimes, and also like now I'm getting to the stage where actually this stuff is actually sometimes more important than the actual other stuff or the other work that you're actually doing.
You're getting older, man.
Exactly. Older and wiser, trying to be anyway.
You're getting older. Wait until you hit my age. Yeah. Like I'm still in the
I'm not going to do any workout.
I know, right? it's all going to be rehab stuff. Yeah. Dude, but when you get like back when I was, younger, all right, we didn't have the tools you guys have. My warm up before was like taking my arm, putting it across my chest and just stretching
cracking the neck.
Yeah, that was it. You're good to go. You plug your 10s in, or your 20s in. Yeah. That was your warm up.
10 reps and ready to go.
And then you're going to go. And then when I went to Exos, or when I did my certification with them, that's when I learned prehab. And I was like, oh, all right. This is what Coach Franny was trying to tell me, 10 years ago, and he was sipping beers in the middle of the game, but that's all right. He still knew what he was doing.
And it's definitely, like you say, recovery is where you do adapt and build and get stronger from. It's not just always constantly tearing yourself down. You need to repair and recover from all this work. So if you can speed up that recovery from things like sports massage, deep tissue massages, if things are feeling a little bit tight, well, let's get it addressed. Or something's not quite right and the shoulder something's clicking or clunking. Okay, let's not keep guessing it. Why don't we just address it, get someone to look at it, and then we can work towards that. And if they have given us exercises, they're giving us exercises because you've got a weak link or something needs strengthening or position he's working on. That should be like when you start to lean towards, okay, let me get this done first, then I can start my other stuff. And it's so easy that people put like their rehab and pre-op stuff at the end of their workout when they're most fatigued, they're done. They're like, oh man, I just want to like go home, or I just want to go. I'll do that later. Well, why don't we just put it at the beginning? You spent your time where you're actually fresh, you're thinking straight, you're not like in a sweaty mess, or you're not like breathing heavy, and you can actually spend some good quality time working on your shoulders or your ankles or hips, whatever actually needs to be addressed. So like recovery days, like sometimes we'll either go like just movement, just moving around, like taking your body through like full range of motion, spend a little bit of time if there's any like rehab or prehab exercises that you need to do. That's good. It's good for the body to still move and work through like full range of motion stuff, I say, rather than just lay flat on the couch and be like, I know I need to rest and recover. This is what I'm doing. I'm laying flat, I'm recovering. It's actually better if you do move about a little bit, like go for a long walk, make sure you're moving. So I like to I always feel better if I've moved about, done something, rather than just had a complete day off and did nothing. I always feel like especially a little bit more sluggish. It just takes a little bit longer to get going. Not to say that complete off day where you do nothing, not say nothing, but that day where you don't go to the gym is also key. And also like mentally it's key to get outside as well and do this stuff. But you can be active through that as well, which is definitely key.
So sign out with it would be important to have a link between your physiotherapist and your coach.
100%.
That would be really important. We had
Hamid
Hamid Jalabi. He's a physiotherapist out of Bahrain. He was on the show. He works with Q8 trainer.
Okay, yeah.
Yusuf Baksemi, right? And, he was talking about how important it is that he's in constant touch with him to talk about the athletes.
Yeah.
Because it makes a difference. I mean,
it makes sense.
And it's sensible for the client, too, to tell their coach. Like 100%. I told you, I was like, all right, this is my physiotherapist. This is what she said.
Yeah.
Here's what we got to work on. And
yeah. Like, let's say you've got your physiotherapist, okay, for next 2 weeks, no overhead work. And I've got pressing on Monday, and also you're doing like snatching on Thursday. And it's like,
I'd still
and
do
you
it.
never, you're still doing it.
I'll still do it.
And you don't tell me, it's like, what's the physio's like, what's happening to your shoulders? They seem worse this week. Yeah, I don't know.
That's actually happened to me.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
In fact, you said that to me a couple times.
Yeah.
You're like, well, why'd you do it?
Remember the conversation
that was in the program.
Like, tell me, let me know, and we can either work around it, we can adjust. Like, it's not set in stone, so that if we do need to take something out and put something new in or just work around it, we can. And sort of the job of a coach is to do that, is to coach you through. So, like I say, if you can't do this exercise for whatever reason or there's a limiting factor, let's address it rather than just keep putting it under the carpet, hide it away, and then something really seriously happens.
Yep. No, that's totally true, dude. That's a good note to end on, man.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be more work between us and No Magic Pill Programming.
Yeah, NMP Programmin. Yeah.
No, we're looking for some like sponsorship or something.
Well, we can work something both ways. We can go both ways.
Partnership or something. Work on something cool, man. But no, thanks for coming back on, dude.
Appreciate
it was awesome.
Great to be back.
Great info. I'm sure a lot of people are going to find a lot of good information out of this episode. So thanks, man. And thank you, Haya, for jumping in here.
Yeah.
You are very welcome.
Really appreciate
Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. You can also find us on Instagram at The Project Kuwait. Thank you, and join us next time.